Fez Show with you till 11 o'clock tonight.
Ronnie, I saw this on the news today as I was coming in. Big fire in my neighborhood.
I had no idea, Fez. Is everybody okay?
Yeah, it was like, I think it was like townhouses or apartment buildings, something. It looked really nasty on the TV.
See, that's the problem with a townhouse or an apartment building. You can keep your house nice and calm, but your neighbor can leave his toaster on and burn all your stuff up.
Yeah, you're at the mercy of them cooking soup, which is just stupid.
When you live in an apartment at night, you're going to wake up and go, what's that smell? What are those maniac cokeheads doing downstairs? They making their own crack again?
So I'm looking at the horrible footage, and this building looks like it's gutted, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then the anchor woman comes on, and she goes, no one was hurt, fortunately, and firefighters were able to go in and save 2 cats. And I'm thinking, I'm looking at that smoldering shell of a building,
mm-hmm.
and people went in there to actually save some pets.
Right.
And I just thought to myself, there was no way if I had a dog or a cat in that building, even my own pet, I would go in to save it. Never mind someone else's.
See, that's because you're not really a dog lover. I mean, I had a dog when I was a kid, Fez, and I still don't think I've gotten over that dog dying.
Really?
Yes. He was a great dog, a Chesapeake Bay Retriever. He would retrieve things for me. He would
Chesapeake?
Yes, exactly. I would be down on the Chesapeake. If I took a stick and I would throw it in the water and he would run and get it and come back, if I took that stick and held it underwater, he'd keep his head down there till he drowned before he would come back up. So you saying I wouldn't run back in for him?
I wouldn't.
You know what my dog's name was?
What?
Budday. Hey, Budday.
Aw.
So now I call everyone Budday because the loss is there. You don't understand what it's like, Fez, to love an animal.
Well, I've had dogs. I grew up having dogs as pets.
And did you like them?
You know what? It was nice to have a dog, but it was no big deal to me like when they died. Even when I was a kid.
All right, 866-277-4969. 866-277-4969. The question Fez puts out there, it's just like it's nothing, saying that he wouldn't run back into a burning house for an animal. And I'm going to tell you right now, and maybe it's just me, I'd run back in and get a piece of pie because I don't like my stuff burning up. And I definitely don't want anything I own that's living to burn up.
The crust is charred.
Maybe it's because I'm Irish. I take a coat to a party. I expect to take it home. I don't like to fool around and find out anything of mine is missing. But a dog is like a member of the family.
I watched that footage today and I go, you know what? Only a maniac would go back in there to try to save, like a dog.
Not a maniac, a person who loves his animal. A person with feelings.
If there was the slightest thing that I could get smoke inhalation, not even burned, I would not go in.
So instead of, you would let the dog die or the cat die.
Yes.
You're a cat. You're a dog.
I would have to. I'm not going to risk my life for an animal's.
I'd be one of those guys wetting a blanket down with a hose and putting it over his head. That's your dog. That dog you take care of. That dog's looking to you. You ever have a dog look to you like, hey, man, what's up with the food? They love you. They need you. The least you can do is run in the middle of a fiery building and pull them out.
See, I can't imagine that that my dog's thoughts are going to turn towards me when the flames are rising. No, that they'll be looking for me.
Let me tell you something. If you were down, if my dog, Budday, if I was unconscious, that dog would have pulled me out of the building. I guarantee it. That dog would go after people for me. If somebody was fighting with me or arguing with me on the street, that dog would grit his teeth back and people would take off. Here's Jeff. Jeff, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah, I had a story where I bought a dog to cheer up my girlfriend's sister when she broke up with a guy. She was almost suicidal. I got her this little puppy.
Uh-huh.
She walked it up to the park. She's leaning over in a car talking to some guy, and the dog curls up behind the tire, and the guy backed up over the dog's head.
Ah, jeez.
It was so sad. She looked at the dog. I mean, his eyes were popped out of his head and everything, and it couldn't have been worse. I tried to cheer her up, and it just got worse.
Because she loved this dog. The dog's part of the family. Where Fez is just going to let it burn up like it's nothing. I might even go in after somebody else's dog.
Really? There is no way.
That's a defenseless animal, Fez, that needs you.
That's totally off the list. I would feel ridiculous if I got killed going in to save a dog.
I bet you go straight to heaven, my friend. And a coward, on the other hand, dies a million deaths. A million deaths. Here's Paul. Paul, you're on Fez.
Fez, there was something wrong with you if you didn't care about your dog dying.
Yeah, I can't believe that, Fez.
I cried when my duck died.
And I know your brother, Corky, would run back in after the dog.
Oh, Corky would totally go in. He would sit there in the fire, feed the dog, give it a bath, and then head out the door.
I'm willing to bet any real pet owner has to feel like those people did. Like, oh, my God, my dog's inside. And that's just like saying there's a member of my family still inside there. Let me ask you would go back in for your nephew, right?
Yes.
I don't
That's
know.
a person.
I don't know if you would, because you don't even cry when your dog dies. 866-277-4969. 866-277-4969. Fez thinks I'm crazy because I would go back in the house to get my dog if the house was on fire.
If we were at the same fire,
Yeah.
and your dog was inside,
Yeah.
I would be hanging on to your ankles to try to keep you from going back in there to get a dog.
Do me a favor. An emergency situation comes up, stay away from the men, Fezzy. We've got things to do. I don't need a panicky woman holding on to my leg out there.
I would not want you to go back in that fire. I'd just be screaming, it's a dog.
Will, you're on Fez.
I would run back into the house for a dog. Anybody's dog, my friend's dog. I love dogs. But a cat, I will throw that thing back into the fire because they will steal the breath from a baby.
Well, yeah, they do steal the breath from a baby, but that's not their fault. That's nature. That's like getting mad at an alligator for pulling a toddler underwater and drowning them. That's what they're built by God to do. So you're not a cat man. I'm not really a cat person myself. But I guarantee you, if it's my cat, I'm going back in.
You're going back in for the cat.
I'll go back in for my TV. I don't want some fire burning up my stuff. That makes me as mad as if I found out someone broke into my house. I would have the same feeling like I'm going to get even with this. I'm going to get even with this fire. Here's Clyde. Clyde, you're on Fez.
What's up, Clyde?
Clyde, you're on, buddy?
Clay, maybe.
Clay, okay. I'm sorry. I got a new phone guy tonight.
No problem.
Yeah.
I got a dog and two cats. I'd probably go in and save the dog, but I'd use the cats to help put out the fire.
See, you're just not a cat person.
That's right.
Why do people even have cats then?
What about you and Fuzz Watley? You bitched at everybody all last year about that fake cat. You never owned one?
No.
Then that frustrates me.
Why do I want a house that smells like a litter box?
I thought
That would be the way. That's when I'd want it to burn.
I thought with all that Purina we were pushing that it wouldn't smell. It would smell great. So you lied to the. I saw a picture with you and a cat.
Yeah, that wasn't even mine. That was some lady they brought in the station.
That was a lady. Tim, you're on Ron and Fez. Tim,
go ahead.
Yeah, buddy.
I just wanted to say that it was that Fez's opinion has to be a product of his cowardice.
It really does come off that way. You sound like the coward of the county.
Why does it sound cowardly? Why doesn't it sound like common sense not to run into a fire?
How do you not go in after your dog? That dog depends on you.
How do you run into flames?
Because for love. You
That
do
dog
it
would
out
cut
of
his
love.
legs off to be with you.
It's true, Fezzy. A dog, you don't know how loyal a dog can be. A dog is there for you.
Why should we have to lose two people, a person and a dog?
Let me tell you something. When I was a kid, if I was sick, I'd be laying on the couch. That dog would lay next to me, and I would look at his eyes, and I could see, he could tell that I was sick and that I hurt, and he wanted me to get better. And that dog willed me back from scarlet fever.
Yes, dogs are very nice.
So save them if they're on fire.
You can go get a new one, just like the couch.
Let me tell you something. I love that dog so much I haven't had a dog since. I'm a one dog man.
What was the dog's name?
Budday.
Now I know what I'm getting you for your birthday.
Don't. Because those things die, Fezzy. And I haven't gotten over it yet. I haven't gotten over that dog going yet. And you know what? The last caller was right. You're a coward. And I'm going to tell you a story here. All but one man died at Bitter Creek. And they say he ran away. Branded.
Scorn is the one who ran?
What do you do when you're branded? You know you're a man. Whatever you do for the rest of your life. We should have that song ready at all times, Giant Pride. It's the branded team. It was a great Chuck Connors. Scott, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, I love my dog, and I'm actually on the Beltway right now to stop at IKEA to buy her some new blankets and pillows.
Nice.
You know, I'm not saying starve your dogs. I'm not saying
don't blanket and pillows.
I'm not saying don't take care of your dogs. I'm just saying if it's an emergency and it's humans versus dogs, preserve the human life. Stay out of the fire.
It depends on who the human is. It depends on who the human is. I have 3 dogs, and one is really special. I mean, I would go in the fire for her for sure. The other 2, I kind of see your point, but this one dog, it's just like there's this bond there. She's just great.
See, there shouldn't be any of this categorizing. Some dogs are worth saving.
Here's Joyce on Fez.
Yes, hi. I would definitely run in and save any animal, especially dogs.
Who saved you?
Stop it. Now you're just being mean.
No, when I see dogs on the street, I stop and put them in my car and try to find their owners.
Sure. Of course. Why wouldn't you?
Well, because I don't want them to get hit.
No, Fez. You know what? You're turning your hate out towards the world. It's a self-hate, and I'm picking up on it here. Well, you're involved in self-hate.
No, there's nothing more. This is an exact example of self-love. It's self-preservation. I'm not running in the fire.
Why call her a dog? Why call that nice lady a dog? She helps animals.
She picks them up off the street, probably while they're still with their owners.
Tim, you're on Fez.
Hey, guys, I got a dog that literally brings my slippers to me when I come home.
Beautiful.
He hears me drive up. He goes up to my closet. He gets them. He brings them. He meets me at the door with them in his mouth. It's unbelievable. So if there was a fire, I get the wife. I get the kids. I'm going back in. I'm getting the dog.
You know what? You're right. You got to get your
portrait for the slippers.
You got to get your kids out. You got to get your chick out, and then after that, you get your dog. I'm not saying there's not a pecking order, Fez, but if you're standing outside and that dog's inside, you got to try your best. I'm not saying kill yourself, but you got to do what you can do to get your dog outside.
What good does it do the dog if I get in the house, make a path for the dog to get out, and I drop a smoke inhalation and die?
You went out a hero.
What good does that do the dog?
You go straight to heaven. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get some DVDs for you, Lassie, because you don't know anything about dogs.
Oh, I know about Lassie.
Old Yeller?
Great dog.
Yeah.
All right, what about you, Giant Brian? You're a coward. Would you run back in for your animal?
Absolutely. There's no lower man on the face of the earth that would let a dog die.
What does that even mean?
There's no one lower.
Well, Fez isn't going to shoot a dog.
Right, but to let a dog die... What if you're... All right, how about this, Fez? If you were outside the building watching your building burn...
Yes.
What if you saw your animal come to the window and you made eye contact with it? Well, then would you go in?
You got to go in. You got to do your best.
Not if it's dangerous. No, I'm not going back in.
That dog relies on you. That's your only responsibility in life is to make sure it's okay until it goes back to God.
Well, that's going to be sooner than later then.
I don't understand you. I really don't understand you. Here's Robert. Robert, you're on Fez.
Hey, guys. I was just saying, Fez, pretty much jump off a bridge. Because if you couldn't save your dog, I mean, I was telling the phone screener, I'd go in there, I'd save my python, I'd save every one of my rats, I'd save my bearded dragons. I mean...
This is like Pee-wee. He come running out with all the snakes in his hands.
Come on, you can help me.
Fez, I never even knew this side of you. You really didn't cry when your dog died?
No, I didn't. They came and told me.
I was inconsolable.
Really?
Yeah. I was like you when your grandmother died. I had the exact same feelings.
Well, she was a person.
99.
In human years.
My dog was only 50. Oh, forget it. I'm not even going to get into it. That dog suffered, though. Jojo, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah, I ran back in the house once when it was an apartment. It was on fire to save my goldfish speckles.
Yeah, and that's a ridiculous thing to do.
You could have
been killed.
It's your fish. You want it to boil? You got to understand, you're in a godlike position, a position of parenthood when you take on an animal. You wouldn't run back in for a baby?
Yes, I would run back in for a person, for a baby. Yes, I would.
That dog's your baby dog. And this is a whole part of you. I got to say, Fezzy, I think it's one of the reasons why you end up in therapy. Because there's a self-hate involved with the things that you're saying. And I don't want to say cowardice, but I will play the song for you.
Don't play this.
All but one man died.
This is the way you'd be leaving your neighborhood as they tore the patches off your uniform.
Get off my jacket.
They say he ran away. Branded, scorned as the one who ran. What do you do when you're branded and you know you're a man?
I got news for you too. If it was my neighbor's dog and like the kids were crying, my dog, I have to go in.
See, I wouldn't go in. To me, it would be the same as like going in for like a painting you wanted off the wall. For going in.
Yes, I might do that if I love my painting.
Going in for a possession. You know, like
it depends on what it is. I mean, you brought up a painting that somebody could feel like that's a piece of art. I might run back in for a piece of art. I might run back in for my TV set.
To me, it would be like going in for golf clubs.
But you act like people can't beat a fire. Like somehow we have to stay away from fires. And I hate to say this, Fezzy, but you come off like one of those antelopes that's not paying attention when the lion's attacking another antelope. You're like, oh, it's not me. I'm the antelope that's drinking water. Everything's okay. You got to turn these fires back, my friend.
I'm not going to risk getting burned to death. I'm not going to risk suffering a horrible death to get an animal out of a building.
They love you back, Fez.
You don't understand. The animal would do it for you. The animal would do it for you. I don't think you had a real dog. It must have been belonging to somebody else's in your family because you didn't make the connection. Joe, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, I just want to tell Fezzy that I owe my dog my life because he saved my daughter's life.
How did that happen, Joe?
My daughter was choking in the other room, and I was out in the kitchen, and my dog came out and was barking at me. You know how they do when they do something wrong. And he kept barking and looking in the room, so I followed him, and sure enough, she was choking, and, you know, he saved her life.
Now, that's a great story. That sounds like a great dog. Would you want your daughter to return the favor if the house was on fire?
Absolutely. Well,
the adults do it, not the children, Fez. The adults run in.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm not going to send an 8-year-old in to a burning building.
Exactly.
I'll say, no, yes, and I'm not 8, neither are you. You're far from 8.
Fez needs to get a dog.
You do need a dog. And I'll tell you what, you can get rid of that shrink of yours the next day.
I am not going to get a dog.
You got no love in your life.
Unconditional love.
Unconditional love. Not the conditional love like, oh, I like Ron. Ron's brings me food. Well, you know what, Fezzy? Someday I might need you. I might need you to run into that burning building for me.
I would go in there for you.
I'm not going to depend on it because I've heard what you said about dogs. I'll be like, I'm dead.
You're a lot more than a dog to me.
I would be shocked if you showed up in a burning building for me.
It'd be like outside going, Ron, push the furniture off your legs and come out here.
If he banged on the door, I'd go, who is it? And he said, Fez. I go, it couldn't be. It's got to be someone else.
It would totally be me. I'm just not willing to risk my life for an animal.
It's not an animal. It's your dog. I'm not asking you to chase a hippo out of the zoo, although I would.
I wouldn't even know how to do that.
Would you save a monkey?
No.
They're adorable, Fez.
Yes, they're great animals, but guess what? There's more monkeys.
Lancelot Link.
There's more... you know what you sound like to somebody who lost a baby, and then they go, oh, well, you have more babies. That stuff never helps. That's the kind of talk that never helps. All right, well, let's take a break here. We got the dub song coming up. We can't forget about that. Fez, here's your song. It's called Brand It.
It's not my song.
Walk out of here. And give me that sword. I'm breaking it.
It's my only sword.
All but one man died there at Bitter Creek, and they say he ran away.
866-277-4969, the Ron and Fez Show. Hey, Don, you're on WJFK.
Hey, how you doing, Ron? How you doing, Fezzy?
Cool.
Hi, Don.
Hey, Fezzy, I cannot believe you would compare a dog to an inanimate object like a painting. I agree with Ron that clearly you've never made friends with the right dog. Dogs are better than people in many ways. There's a dog in my family that saved 2 people's lives in my family. Her name was Jessie. She was in the back seat of my sister's car, and this would-be rapist shows up to the window, and he tells my sister something very obscene, and the dog starts biting at the window. This guy's such a freak. He says, "I'll do you and the dog too," pulls out a knife and tries to break her window in with his elbow, and he cracks it a little bit. So the dog goes flying out of the back seat through the window, gets herself a little cut up, attacks this guy, bites his forearm until he drops the knife, and stands on top of him and growls in his face until my sister gets on the phone and calls 911 and the police come. That dog had him pinned until the police got there. That same dog, when my nephew crawled out of the window and went to the lake and almost fell in, that dog went out, was going crazy in the house looking for him, went outside, grabbed that kid by the diaper and brought him back to the house.
I've seen dogs keep an eye on the baby before too.
Yeah, I mean, he would pace back and forth. He thought that was his baby. She thought that was her baby, and she was there to protect her. So he's going out by the lake, and that dog went out there and grabbed that kid. He was just getting ready to fall in. He was right at the very end of the dock.
I'm going to tell you, Don, I almost feel sorry for Fez that he's missing out on this part of life.
I really do, too. And not only would I save my dog, I would save anybody's dog, too. And whoever that dude was, he brought up about the dog's face in the window if you saw that fire burning.
Right.
I don't know how anybody could leave a dog in a building like that.
I don't
would
know
save
either.
the dog, put it right at the same status as saving a baby, saving a child.
See, you sound like you have a great dog, and that's wonderful and everything, and I would think that same dog, since there's such a connection between you two, that same dog would not want you to even think about risking your life in a fire to run in and save it.
Now you're projecting, Fezzy, your small thoughts on that dog, and that's sad.
Well,
I want you to think the best of that dog.
That dog is so noble, she probably would feel that way, but
exactly.
That's why we would save her.
But Fez, the whole thing can't be selfish. Can't be your answer to everything. Thank you very much, Don.
You're welcome.
Yeah, let the dog die is your answer, Fez, not the dog's.
Right.
And I don't understand where dogs are better than people.
They're not better than people. You say you saved.
That's what she said.
What she said, that wouldn't you feel that way about a dog that saved your sister from getting raped? You know, Fezzy, at that funeral, when you exposed yourself, and...
It wasn't me. It was someone else. It was a stranger.
To your niece?
Yes.
All right, I heard the story wrong. The way I heard...
Well, who in the world would tell it to you that way?
Well...
Let me tell you something.
It was your brother.
He drinks.
I know he does, buddy. Christy, you're on Ron and Fez.
Okay, I'm a little concerned that Fez might have some kind of a sociopathic personality because I just...
Me too.
I don't understand. Fez, you don't know love until you have the love of a dog. You have to get a dog. If you have a dog that's really your dog, not your sister's dog, your parents' dog, or something like that, and you still think after you have a dog like that you wouldn't save him from a burning building, you just need to be put away because there's no hope for you with humanity. I think that is. I agree with whoever.
I wouldn't leave a human in there. Of course, I have humanity.
I think it's the lowest of the low.
You know, humanity is more than doing just things for other humans, Fez. It's caring about God's creatures.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. Sometimes I wonder. All right, 866-277.
I don't want to get burned.
4969, 866-277.
I don't think that's crazy.
4969.